In this musical steps walk around places associated with specific songs and music artists, I'll look at the northwest England town of Warrington through the eyes of Viola Beach. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll walk Warrington town centre streets familiar to the staccato guitar-based four-piece band. And I'll talk about the band's optimism and determination that has subsequently brought colour, life and musical hope to a town sometimes previously associated with grey and bleak drudgery. Though musically a four-piece, it's fair to say Viola Beach will be forever remembered as a five-piece band that contained the musicians themselves, Kris Leonard, Jack Dakin, Tom Lowe, River Reeves and, just as importantly, their manager Craig Tarry. Viola Beach are often described as an indie band. The band members themselves, however, often referred to themselves purely as a pop band. Perhaps as a compromise for social media, the boys described themselves on their Facebook page as a really lovely four-piece indie pop band from Warrington. Kris also said, "I think we just write poppy-soppy love songs." But as a self-proclaimed pop band, Viola Beach weren't just boys that sing though. They were rapidly becoming accomplished musicians, and increasingly wrote summer-infused optimistic songs full of escapist possibilities that resonated with an increasing number of fans after every gig. Though individually talented musicians, they appreciated they were stronger together, and it was together they took on the world from their base here in Warrington, and predominantly from a bar they worked, played and sometimes slept at called The Lounge, on the corner of Springfield Street and Palmyra Square North, situated directly opposite the Par Hall where a bronze frieze celebrates the band, though the lounge bar has subsequently been renamed the Post House and is under new management. Viola Beach had two main lineups from initial inception as the 2010 decade progressed. At first, singer-guitarist and principal songwriter Kris Leonard started the band alongside drummer Jack Dakin, with Frankie Coulson on guitar and Johnny Gibson playing bass. Kris and Jack were initially childhood friends from Bradshaw Lane Primary School in Grappenhall, a suburb a mile or so southeast of the town centre over the Manchester Ship Canal that horizontally bisects the Cheshire town of Warrington. However, as often happens with primary school friends, Kris and Jack lost touch for a few years as they both went to separate high schools. Kris attended Lymm High School, whilst 5 miles away to the west, Jack went to St Gregory's, next door to Warrington Peace Centre in Great Sankey. Prior to starting secondary school, Kris didn't display much interest in music. It was only when he was about 14 years old and attending Lymm High, around 4 miles east of the town centre, that his interest in writing songs developed shortly after his parents separated. Kris's civil servant mum Lisa remembered, "One day he told me he wanted to start writing music. I didn't take him seriously at first, but his dad bought him a second-hand guitar, and for the next 12 months he sat in his bedroom and taught himself to play it." By contrast, teacher's son Jack Dakin had played drums for a number of years at this point, constantly practicing in the garage of his parents' old hall detached house just to the west of Warrington town centre. Jack's dad Ian paid for drum lessons at Presto Music School on Crossfield Street when he was 8 years old, but Jack pretty much developed his considerable drumming skills on his own after that. 6'4" Jack's other big passion was rugby. He played for 2 amateur rugby sides in Warrington, Ryland Sharks and then Crossfields, with its training ground across the road from his old high school. Jack's mum Joanne subsequently said, "He was very dedicated to his rugby and very dedicated to his drums, and not much in between really." As mentioned a moment ago, frontman Kris hadn't taken any real interest in creating music until his parents separated. But once at Lymm High School, 15-year-old Kris became obsessed with music and named his first band Outside In, as a reference to one of his favourite groups at the time, Brighton's The Kooks. Kris said the Kooks' debut album, Inside In, Inside Out, played a big part in him becoming a musician. Kris's first 3 bands before Viola Beach were Outside In, The Master Plan and The Vox. He had also been part of a band called Attic prior to forming Viola Beach. In fact, it would have been in one of these bands that, long before Viola Beach began, Kris wrote the song Boys That Sing, ostensibly about his mum, when he was just 15 at Lymm High School. During the first verse, Kris's constantly punning lyrics cleverly reference his mum's whining and beauty as he refers to her as the Mona Lisa. But, despite his gentle mocking humour, he admits he couldn't do without his mum. He lyrically half rhymes, she's a Libra, and he really needs her. Boys That Sing would later become one of Viola Beach's most celebrated songs, and known throughout the world, when Coldplay performed it at Glastonbury as a tribute to Kris, Jack, River, Tom and Craig. Prior to River Reeves and Tom Lowe joining, when Viola Beach first started, a different guitarist and bass player were part of the lineup. Frankie Coulson was on guitar and Johnny Gibson played bass. After being part of the group for a while, both decided to concentrate on their final year of their university studies. As a result, in early 2015, Viola Beach auditioned for a new guitarist. They recruited River Reeves. River had moved to South Warrington from Penzance to live with his father Ben Dunn after River's mother Miranda Reeves tragically died when he was 10. It seems River was musically gifted, his talents being noticed by Miranda and his grandmother at an early age. He was 5 years old when Miranda bought him an acoustic guitar, though it seems it was initially bought for his older brother Finn. Finn subsequently said, "She was going to buy me a guitar, but I think it was my gran who stepped in and said it needs to be for River." River and Finn moved to Warrington from Cornwall shortly after the devastating death of their mum to cancer. The brothers, who were 10 and 13 at the time, had been living with their father Ben and devoted stepmum Sharon in Farnham in Surrey. River had attended Farnham's Pottersgate Primary School, but owing to a series of family tragedies, Sharon returned to her hometown of Warrington and the family followed. Upon arriving in South Warrington, River went to St Thomas's Junior School in Stockton Heath and immediately became a popular member of the class. From there, River attended Bridgewater High School, located between Stockton Heath and the family home at Grappenhall Hayes. After Bridgewater, he continued his education at Priestley College on Loushes Lane, just north of Stockton Heath, where he completed A-level music and a B.Tech in drama and music. It was during his time at Priestley College he met Kris Leonard. River became very interested in acting, and he had been offered a place at the Arden School of Theatre in Manchester to study drama in 2015. However, when the opportunity to join Viola Beach came along, he knew this was his chance to break into the music industry. So the Viola Beach final lineup with River Reeves on guitar and Thomas Lowe on bass formed in 2015. Bass player Tom was the oldest member of Viola Beach and, interestingly, was an experienced drummer, having previously played in local band The Stocks. I think one of the reasons Viola Beach musically meshed as a band was because, as a drummer himself, Tom could alternately lock or weave his bass lines with and around Jack's intentionally danceable drum beats. Tom was 27 when he joined Viola Beach, though he jokingly asserted his band age was 22. He attended Cinnamon Brow Primary School before moving to Birchwood High School, both in North Warrington. Tom's mum Ruth said he only started playing an instrument at school. He started playing the drums at 14. His dad died and his friends had taken music, so he would just go at lunchtime and mess about on the drums. Before he knew it, he was in a group called The Stocks. Tom loved music and sport. Though it was before Kris and River attended, Tom too studied at Priestley College, where he sat a B.Tech in sports science, before completing his degree in sport rehabilitation at Bolton University. After Bolton, he went travelling for a while, before returning to Warrington and his family's Cinnamon Brow home near Cinnamon Lane and Enfield Park Road, and to working at the Lounge, a job he'd had as a teenager. However, upon returning, his band The Stocks had moved in different directions. So, when the opportunity to join Viola Beach as their bass player arose, he jumped at the chance. One of the reasons I feel the band got on so well with each other was because they'd experienced emotional pain at an early age. This could be the loss of a parent, either through illness or separation, or indeed on a much lower level, the bizarre and cruel shooting of a loved pet. When Kris was 6 years old in 2002 and living at Runnymede in the Wellston area of Warrington with his mum Lisa and sister Charlotte, the family cat Billy was shot at point-blank range in a cruel air rifle attack. It's no wonder Kris grew up wanting the world to be a better place, and it's no wonder he later created a nicer world he called Viola Beach. Though Tom was 7 years older than River, he will have understood River's internal pain. As a result, Tom regarded River as his little brother. This was also the case for Jack. He too regarded River as his little brother. I'll say more on this in a moment. So, with their lineup solidified in May 2015, Kris, Jack, River and Tom were achieving considerable newfound success as a result of hard work and talent. They had secured prestigious gigs at Liverpool's Cavern, Birmingham's O2 Academy and the Reading and Leeds Festival, amongst other venues, either headlining or supporting named bands. Though unsigned by a major record label, the band had self-financed their own label and recording costs, and issued under the name Fuller Beans. In February 2016, Viola Beach was starting to reap the rewards of their constant gigging, intentionally danceable drum-driven guitar pop and developing songwriting. Kris said that their song arrangements pretty much always started with a drum groove designed to make people dance, before the guitar arrangements were woven around Jack's bouncing beat and Tom's melodic low-end pulse. Kris said in an interview, "We like to get the drums right first. Music for me is something primarily to dance to, so if you can't dance to the drum beat, we start again." Their singles, Boys That Sing and Swings and Water Slides, show the direction their intelligent arrangements were moving. You'll know, however, a dreadful tragedy occurred around 9 months after the final Viola Beach lineup of Kris, Tom, River and Jack got together with Craig Tarry, their manager. Rather than dwell on the tragedy, I want to look at the positives that emerged from that awful night. Now, I'm not suggesting the positives that have emerged since then will ever compensate the five families' loss. Nothing could ever compensate for what happened. Nevertheless, a music festival has been set up in guitarist River Reeves's name. In September 2017, River's father, ex-head teacher Ben Dunn, organised RivFest 17, a music event aimed at inspiring those with a talent for the arts to follow their dreams. In memory of their son's talent and passion, the guitarist's family created the River Reeves Foundation to help other musicians fulfill their dreams. Since 2016, the foundation has been a passionate fundraiser for a multitude of causes. Also, in Warrington's Golden Square, the foundation runs, in their words, the funkiest charity shop in the town, Vintage Viola. Vintage Viola was created to sustain the band's legacy of funky fashion and founded by River's stepmom Sharon Dunn with the help of Kris's mum Lisa Leonard. Also, a year after the tragedy, Arriva buses produced 5 vehicles in Warrington, each bus bearing a picture of one of the band members, Kris, Jack, Thomas, River, and manager Craig. Arriva buses collaborated with the River Reeves Foundation to launch the vehicles, one of which housed a mobile recording studio. To reiterate, I'm not suggesting these positives in any way compensate for five families' loss. Nothing could ever compensate. Nevertheless, there have been some positive elements that have subsequently emerged from that awful night, in that charities and events and bursaries have been set up in their names. One very laudable charity has been set up by the River Reeves Foundation and led by River's stepmom Sharon, the charity director. It has launched a project to eradicate prom poverty across Warrington. Prom dresses, suits and accessories will be gifted in order to create equal opportunities for Year 11 students. The prom outfits are stocked in the prom lounge of the Vintage Viola charity shop at Golden Square. Year 11 pupils from across Warrington can look for outfits and accessories. Girls will be assisted with makeup and spray tans, whilst boys will be helped with haircuts. The Prominence Project, as it's known, is committed to eliminating the cost of prom for teenagers who would otherwise struggle to go, so that they can feel amazing and enjoy the highlight of their school year as much as everyone else. So, out of tragedy, some good has emerged. The Vintage Viola shop continues the fashion ideals of the band. As a band, Viola Beach knew being good musicians wasn't enough to achieve success in the music industry. They intelligently realised image was important as the songs, and a good fan base would help too. Getting a good fan base would mean constantly gigging. So, under the impetus of bass player Tom compelling the boys to secure as many gigs as possible, they pushed themselves to play often. They wanted to break the record set by another Cheshire-based band, the 1975. Constant gigging and achieving incremental steps up the music industry ladder meant the boys had a chance of escaping the confines of Warrington that they felt didn't offer them enough. The main drive for the band was to escape the grey drudgery of everyday life. They wanted rainbows. In terms of that perceived drudgery, the band's frontman Kris said that much of their lyrical content was inspired by a very grey and industrial hometown, where there was nothing to do other than drink cider, smoke rollies in the park and chase after girls. In a different interview, when Viola Beach were first getting noticed, Kris explained the band name. He said, "The whole concept of the band is escapism. Being in a band is a way to escape from where we lived. We come from a very industrial town in the north of England, Warrington, and a lot of the songs are just about escaping. But the actual name is a hypothetical place, a state of mind to go to when you're feeling down. It's just that, a happy place people can go to. I guess it was a nice idea that, maybe when people are sad, they can listen to our tunes or come to our gig." The four members of Viola Beach clearly never let the claustrophobic, bleak existence of Warrington repress or hold them back. It must be stressed they weren't ashamed of Warrington. They simply wanted more colour than the monochromatic town offered them. Those that knew the Viola Beach boys best say they had an infectious optimism and desire for success, amplified by being in a band together. A band all the boys regarded as a brotherhood. As we know, Kris formed Viola Beach with drummer Jack after accidentally bumping into him at Warrington bus station after losing touch after primary school. At the time of bumping into Jack again, Kris had already met guitarist River Reeves on a music course at Priestley College, and Kris met bassist Tom at the Warrington bar The Lounge that would become their workplace, drinking den and second home. Interestingly, as mentioned before, Tom was an accomplished drummer when he met Kris. He had played in other Warrington bands for a few years prior to travelling. But because Jack was drumming for Viola Beach, Tom chose to play bass for what he realised was a promising band. However, as a drummer really, he didn't possess a bass guitar. So, relying upon his best friends from high school, the members of the Stocks, he borrowed a bass from them, so he could rehearse with Kris, Jack and River and become a Beach Boy, a Viola Beach Boy. It worked out. The band brotherhood was complete. Poignantly reflecting later, after the tragedy, Jack's mother Joanne said she asked her son every year what he wanted for Christmas. Every year in December, Jack inevitably replied, "Batteries and a little brother please, Mum." But the Christmas before the tragedy, Jack told his mother, "I only need batteries this year because I've got a little brother now," referring to the band's new guitarist, River Reeves. Jack, born on the 19th of March 1996, was 9 months older than River. His birthday was the 14th of December 1996. That solid brotherhood unity within all the band members manifested itself in a commitment to succeed, and they worked hard to make it happen. The band name itself, Viola Beach, was coined by Kris when he started the band at 15 years of age. Kris chose the name Viola Beach because it typified his belief that hard work provides a rewarding, positive, and ultimately peaceful place away from everyday drudgery. Clearly, the name Viola Beach doesn't indicate a real place. Instead, it represents a state of mind. Kris's mother Lisa later said it was something Kris had dreamt of. It was something he wanted for himself in the future, something that symbolized peace and tranquility to him. Viola Beach is a fictitious, positive concept of a place that existed initially in Kris's optimistic mind, before the other band members embraced its concept too. Kris had once explained to his mother Lisa that Viola Beach was mythical, but a counterpart to reality. The metaphorical Viola Beach concept illustrated everything Warrington wasn't in 2015. And as Kris saw it, the band's palm tree logo metaphorically represented the antithesis of Warrington at that time, with its closed-down factories, poundland shops, and disillusioning day-to-day drudgery. The Viola Beach palm tree represented a goal, a focus, a reward. It was something to aspire to. Their palm tree logo was an aspirational emblem and the antithesis of, as they saw it, the bleak reality of relentless Warrington drudgery. In the group's 9 months together, as the four-piece consisting of Kris on rhythm guitar and vocals, River playing lead guitar, Tom on bass guitar, and drummer Jack, Viola Beach inadvertently did more than other music acts from the area to create a bright vision and sense of possibility. Kris's initial love of basketball and football was eclipsed by his love of music and being in a band. Kris once said he wanted more than just bandmates. He wanted them to be his best friends too. He got that when he formed Viola Beach with Jack and when he met his new best friends, River Reeves and Tom Lowe. One thing shone through with Viola Beach, a belief that something better could be achieved with talent, tenacity and hard slog. All three of those qualities could be seen 8 months before the tragedy in Sweden, when all 4 band members, along with manager Craig Tarry, crammed into 19-year-old drummer Jack's small 1-bedroom town centre Warrington flat. Jack's flat was a 2-minute walk across Palmyra Square from the pub they worked, rehearsed and performed at, the Lounge, and to Warrington's Pyramid and Parr Hall, the venues that were designated to be the places the band would play as part of a planned homecoming tour. The band had been due to play at Warrington's Pyramid a month after the tragedy on March the 12th, 2016. 8 months before, the new best friends were crammed into Jack's Egypt Street flat to have some pre-planned promotional photographs taken in the small shower by photographer friend Georgia Park. Once those planned photographs were taken, the band impulsively decided to continue the photo shoot on the streets of Warrington Town Centre on a relatively quiet Sunday morning. Props were taken along for the spontaneous photo shoot. One such prop would inadvertently come to represent the vision, optimism and dedication of the band, a rainbow umbrella. The random, perhaps accidental rainbow umbrella prop, photographed by 19-year-old Wigan and Lee photography student Georgia Park with her Nikon D3200 on the Sunday morning short walk to Warrington Town Centre from Jack's Egypt Street flat, has now come to visually represent the band's persistent spirited optimism. When planning this musical steps walk around Warrington, it took me a while to focus on the direction I wanted to narratively take it. I knew I didn't want to impose on the family's pain, and I knew I definitely didn't want to talk about the accident because I felt it obviously would not best reflect the positivity the band and manager Craig possessed. Instead, I wanted to show their love of life. The boys in the band loved music and sport. They found a soulmate in their manager Craig. He was a Manchester City supporter and music fanatic. After leaving Woolston High School and sixth form college, He attended Edge Hill University in Liverpool, where he gained a bachelor's degree in sports management and development, before turning his hand to music management. One of his first successes was managing the Warrington band Exile Parade. With them, he caught the attention of Oasis and Verve producer Owen Morris. Craig wasn't satisfied with that success though. He still searched for an even better band. He felt he found it in Viola Beach. Colin Tarry, father of 32-year-old manager Craig, said the band's shared heritage was important to him. Colin said, "They were from Warrington, and that made Craig really excited. He wanted this band to put Warrington on the map." The stabilising force that Craig brought to Viola Beach cannot be underestimated. It was at this time the band were living together in Grappenhall, and understandably having a laugh as teenage mates together. They had moved into an Edwardian terraced house in Grappenhall on Knutsford Road, a few minutes' walk from Kris and Jack's old primary school, belonging to Chris's mum Lisa. Lisa said, "I gave Christian and the band my house in Grappenhall to live in. I bought them a pinny as they like to cook. His girlfriend Negan said they could make a meal out of anything because they were so poor." Craig deleted as much of their pre-social media posts as he felt necessary for them to appear professional and committed, and started their socials from scratch again. He restricted their pre-gig drinking to 2 bottles, and successfully managed their career. Under Craig's older and wiser head, things were rainbow bright for the band. Chris's original Viola Beach ideology was becoming his reality. Craig helped them believe that their natural warmth, humour, determination and talent illustrated dreams could come true with hard work and focus. A monochrome northern town could become rich with rainbow colours. It doesn't have to remain grey and hold you back. The now familiar and forever associated rainbow umbrella photographs, captured by Georgia Park one innocent Sunday morning in 2016, and the bright red telephone boxes they sat on that burst out against the dark brown of the church wall behind them, show what is possible. Now, 6 years after the tragedy, through their determination to keep the boys' talents and vision alive, their parents and families illustrate too that commitment and comradeship can create a positive world. A Viola Beach world.